largemouth, smallmouth, and striped bass. What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to another top 5 fishing video here at Herman's Outdoors. Today, we're going through the top 5 bass fishing states. In nearly every state, you can find a lake or a body of water with anglers going after smallmouth, largemouth, and even striped bass. The popularity of bass fishing continues to grow as the sport of bass fishing has pro tours, regular fishing events broadcast on TV, and the pinnacle fishing event, the Bassmaster Classic. Just as I fell in love with trout fishing as a kid, I find myself more and more going out to chase largemouth and smallmouth bass across the Northwest, looking for that 10-pounder and a new state record. Bass fishing is non-stop fishing action, and I love the all-day fishing from sunup to sundown to chase bass around the local lake. And for anyone that loves to bass fish, there are some states that stand out when it comes to the best bass fishing in the country. You should go explore, fish, and catch some giant bass. So let's look at the top 5 bass fishing states. Number 5. New York. New York is a bit of a hidden gem when it comes to bass fishing. Most people just think New York City when it comes to New York, but there's so much more to the state, including fishing. The lakes, ponds, and waters of upstate New York attract bass fishing anglers year-round. And even towards Lake Ontario, you can find lake fishing as well as over 200 lakes holding both large and smallmouth bass. Bass fishing in the state of New York continues to grow as the state hosted the 2020 Bass Pro Tours 2020 Heritage Cup on Cayuga Lake in Syracuse, New York. I think I pronounced that right, Cayuga? And the 2021 Bass Pro Tour schedule has 2 tour stops, one in Messina and Plattsburgh, New York in the late summer, which is something to say that 2 of the 7 Bass Pro Tour events will take place in upper state New York. New York has also hosted a Bassmaster Classic in 1980, so it's been on the big bass stage. Look out, bass fishing enthusiasts, New York is looking to make a name for itself in the bass fishing community. And of course, once you go fish in New York, go chase the state record largemouth bass, which currently weighs in at 11 pounds 4 ounces, caught on a spinnerbait. Number 4. Florida. If you want to chase some really big bass, head down to Florida. The state produces some of the best bass fishing waters in the country, including Lake Kissimmee and Lake Okeechobee. Kissimmee has produced hundreds of trophy bass over the years with its nearly 35,000 acres of water and fishing grounds. And the lake recently hosted Stage 1 event of the 2019 Bass Pro Tour, the MLF Big Hitters event in 2020, as well as the 1977 and 2006 Bassmaster Classic, where Luke Clausen won with over 56 pounds during the event, making the winner's total the 9th highest in the history of the Classic. Lake Okeechobee is the largest lake in Florida and the 2nd largest freshwater lake in the entire country. It's not uncommon to have a day catching bass all over 5 pounds in Lake Okeechobee once you find them within the 150,000 acres of the reservoir. Florida consistently produces trophy fish at bass fishing events yearly, and for any recreational angler should be on the top of your list to go bass fishing. Add Rodman Reservoir to the list of places to fish as well in your pursuit of the 17.2 pound state bass record. Number 3. Texas. Everything is bigger in Texas, and that includes the trophy bass caught all over the state. Texas is such a big state, you can't go wrong when it comes to finding a body of water to fish and catch some bass. Galveston Bay, Lake Ray Hubbard, Sam Rayburn Reservoir, Allen Henry Reservoir, Lake Conroe, and of course the famous Lake Fork in East Texas. Lake Fork is renowned for its trophy-sized largemouth bass, of which 6 of the 7 official biggest largemouth in the state of Texas have come from the lake here. Lake Fork also hosted the MLF Stage 3 Bass Pro Tour event in 2020, where pro anglers were averaging 3 to 4 pounds per fish, which is insane. The quality of the fish in the waters in Texas make it a destination for bass fishing, and in 2021, 3 major league fishing events will kick off the year in Texas, and expect some big bass to be caught. Out of all the top states on the list, if you're looking to go after and catch a 10+ pound bass, you need to go to Texas. The quality of the bass won't disappoint, and you may even get a shot at that 18.18 pound state record. And let me know in the comments if you want to go fish at Lake Fork for some big bass, because it's on my list to go fish when I'm in Texas. Number 2. Michigan. Michigan is a sleeper state when it comes to bass fishing, but you will find it boasts some of the best smallmouth and northern lake bass fishing in the entire country. In the state of Michigan, there's over 11,000 lakes greater than 5 acres for you to explore and go chase some bass. The popular bodies of water being Hubbard Lake, Gun Lake, Coldwater Lake, and Lake St. Clair located in the Detroit area, and the host of the MLF Bass Pro Tour stop in 2021. Not only is Michigan a top bass fishing state, it's also the home state of Kevin Van Dam, the most famous bass champion fisherman in the world. KVD has won 4 Bassmaster Classics and is the most decorated champion fisherman in the country. And he perfected his bass fishing throughout the lakes and waterways in his home state of Michigan. But out of all the states on the list, Michigan is the only one not to have hosted a Bassmaster Classic. Wouldn't it be amazing for Michigan's own KVD to win the Classic in his home state for his 5th title? Let's make it happen. And number 1. Alabama. The state of Alabama isn't number 1 for a lot of things, but it is the number 1 bass fishing state in the country. Alabama holds the number 1 title for a few reasons. First, out of the 80 professional anglers on the Bass Pro Tour, 15 come from Alabama. That's nearly 20% of all the anglers. There must be some good fishing in the state to produce that many top professional anglers. In Alabama, Lake Guntersville is one of the top bass fishing bodies of water in the entire country. The 69,000 acres located on the Tennessee River make for year-round bass fishing and was the host of the 2020, 2014, and the 1976 Bassmaster Classics. The state has also hosted the Bassmaster Classic 13 times, which is the most of any state, and the majority of winning weights in those classics, over 45 pounds, have come from events in Alabama. Pickwick Lake, Lay Lake, and Lake Eufaula are just a few of the other popular fishing areas for chasing bass across the state. With so many top anglers and championship waters for bass fishing, Alabama takes the title as number 1. So go put Alabama on your list when you're heading out to go chase some bass. And that's my top 5 bass fishing states. Give the video a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button if you like fishing and other outdoor content. Now let's get out there on the water and do some epic bass fishing.